something that people have been discussing here. There was a piece in last Thursday's New York Post which bore my byline that I'd like to discuss for a moment. To give a little background here, on Wednesday afternoon, an assistant to the reporter, to an education reporter at the New York Post, called me and asked me if I was willing to participate in a piece for the Post regarding the teacher ratings. He had explained to me, I was unaware that there was a FOIL request. He had explained to me that the city was preparing to release teacher rating information, and that the UFT had moved to get a judge to block the city from doing that. From there, we talked extensively about my opinions having to do with the teacher rating system, the UFT, and its priorities. And I made some very clear points to him. The discussion focused around having my discussion with him transcribed, turned around into an op-ed piece with my byline on it. I did not write the piece that appeared in the New York Post, and when I got up on Thursday morning, I went to the New York Post website and I looked up what I had seen, and immediately when I saw the headline that said, "Dad, union putting my child last," I had a problem. The article is filled with inaccuracies about my opinion. For those who did not read the article, I am going to read it right now. It's very brief. And I'd be happy. I have a statement that I had written to the New York Post in response to this, which I will also read. They have declined to print it. For some reason, though I was featured on page 4 with their cover story of that issue, that, what is the UFT afraid of, I think was their headline. Though I was featured in this, they have refused to do any form of retraction and have refused to discuss, discuss the matter further. The story with my byline on it, which I should point out, I'm the executive editor of the Queens Tribune newspaper. I have been a journalist for the last 17 years. There is no way that I would have written something like this. I simply know better, even if some of these opinions were indeed mine, and some of them are. I would not have phrased them the way that I do in this, in what is such a hurtful and negative tone. It says, "My daughter is currently in the 6th grade. She attends a public school in Queens, but we need to pick a new school for her for next year." First of all, that's inaccurate. She's in a new school. We're very happy. "Apparently, the United Federation of Teachers would rather keep us and thousands of other parents in the dark as we make this choice. They don't want parents to be able to access city ratings for public school teachers, even though my wife and I would love to know how teachers are performing. Without access to these ratings, I'll feel like we're being suckered into sending her where they want her to go, not to the school that's best for her and my family. For example, if my daughter wants to go to one school and we can tell that its science teachers are subpar, then we have the power to look elsewhere and think of a different location for her. There can only be one reason why the UFT wants to keep these ratings secret. It's because they're putting their members' jobs ahead of children, like they always do." And I will very clearly state, I would never say such a thing. My mother is a retired teacher in this district. She was a teacher at PS 13. My grandmother is a retired teacher and principal. My in-laws, both my father-in-law and my mother-in-law and my father-in-law's girlfriend, are all retired teachers, all from District 24. There is absolutely, I might be skeptical of the union sometimes, no offense guys, but there is absolutely no way that these opinions are mine. Let me move on. The UFT wasn't, where is it? Teachers are already overprotected, and yesterday proved just how powerful the UFT is. The UFT wasn't thinking about parents or children yesterday when it blocked the Department of Education from releasing the ratings on 12,000 of its teachers. They were thinking ahead to the next contract negotiations and how this data could be used against them. If it's revealed that a large number of the members are performing poorly, that will certainly hurt them when they ask the city for raises or increased benefits. These ratings shouldn't be used as a bargaining chip. They are an essential tool to knowing whether my daughter is getting a quality education. I realize there are privacy issues involved. I don't think anyone wants their job performance made public, but teachers need to be held accountable. The UFT claims these ratings are unfair because they are too reliant on standardized test scores. But the union already keeps officials from properly evaluating teachers by setting too many limits on how often administrators can enter a teacher's classroom. Hello, I know. The UFT is trying to have it both ways. They try to claim they serve two masters, children and teachers, but yesterday they made it clear where their loyalties truly rest. This information needs to be out there. First of all, what I know that I said is that I assume the teacher ratings are as reliable a measure on the performance of a teacher as an ELA is reliable as a measure of the performance of a student. Testing microscopic pieces of data are not valid, do not provide valid results for rating anything or anyone. And I made it very clear that the position that I hold is that these teacher ratings could be a very useful part in training and assisting the teachers to be better, assisting the Department of Education to better serve the children of this city. And that if data were to come out relative to the schools, that could be useful for the parents in making decisions about schools and school choice, but that the private information and the names of teachers associated with those ratings, to release that would be just as harmful as it would be to release the names of poor performing students. That somehow got left out of the ad. My letter to the New York Post says to the editor, the characterization of my opinion regarding the UFT and teacher ratings is an inaccurate piece of shoddy work by your newspaper. From the lead to the demand at the end that this information needs to be out there, the entire piece is flawed. My wife and I are not looking for a new school for our daughter. She just started a new school this September, and we're very happy with that choice. The statement that there can only be one reason why the UFT wants to keep these ratings secret, they're putting their members' jobs ahead of children like they always do, is not a statement I would ever make, nor does it define my feelings on the UFT. I think that with that statement, it skews the piece to make it appear that my opinion is that the UFT is an organization that does not value the education of our children. I explained to your reporter that my family background in education and my work with the schools as a newspaper editor and as a member of the Community Education Council give me a fair and skeptical perspective of the UFT, but I would never so crassly define my opinion of the UFT as your newspaper has portrayed it. Secondly, your reporter portrayed the crux of the story to focus on a decision to withhold the public release of teacher ratings, not a Freedom of Information request filed by a newspaper. Had I known that this was regarding an apparent vendetta effort spearheaded by the New York Post, I would not have agreed to participate. This piece hurts my credibility now as much as it tarnishes your own. As a professional journalist for the last 17 years, I'm appalled at your newspaper's decision to put words in somebody's mouth, slap a byline on a piece, and run it as gospel without first verifying the veracity of the statements. This piece is harmful, inaccurate, and used to further an agenda by your newspaper without your company's portrayal of that agenda being made to me. I feel duped and used. Shame on me. Sincerely, Brian Rafferty, Executive Editor of Queen Street Newspapers, member of Community Education Council 24. Now, I'll add on to this. Shortly after I got to work on Thursday morning, I got a call from the Fox News Channel. And they invited me to come on Friday morning to appear on Fox and Friends, their national morning show. And now I am fully aware of who owns Fox and who owns the Post. So I was aware that of what I was walking into, and I'll say that they definitely tried in the 2.5-minute segment, they definitely tried to push me to say that I agreed that this information should be out there, and I was very clear in the statement. As a matter of fact, I might be able to put it onto the CEC, facebook.com/CEC24 on our CEC Facebook page, so people can see the video for themselves and see a little bit, because frankly they didn't give me a chance to talk all that much. But they certainly didn't give me an opportunity to speak about the issue of the New York Post. As I said here, and I've made no bones about this in my discussions up here in front of this board in the past, I have a certain level of healthy skepticism about a lot of things. I would never say that I think that the UFT puts its members before the children. I would never say that the UFT is seeking to harm the children, and I would never say that these teacher ratings with names of teachers and data that could be harmful be released, especially, and I choose my words carefully in this, we have very involved parent population in this school district. We also have a very uninvolved parent population in the school district. I have friends whose children go to school with mine who say, it's summer. Why does my child have to read? Why does my child have to have schoolwork? She's on vacation. And I roll my eyes and I don't say anything, and there are parents who are out there who, seeing a little bit of information, not understanding the context of it, will cause such a flurry of panic and concern that it would immobilize the ability of the schools to be able to perform in any rational and reasonable way. If it turned out that 15% of, if you go through a 1 through 4 scale, and 15% of the teachers in the city got a 1, you're going to find 15%, or probably considerably more, of the parents in New York City public schools saying, I want my kid in a different room, I want my kid with a different teacher, I want my kid with a different school. And that just can't happen. The whole purpose of these ratings, as I understand them, is to be able to serve as an internal process to be able to improve the situation for the children. It's not to help teachers keep their jobs. I am a firm believer that teachers who are not qualified to teach children, that teachers who are not successful at teaching children, teachers who are resistant to training to help improve them, should and do find their way out of the system. You know, I am a great supporter of wonderful teachers. I'm an even stronger supporter of teachers who need help, but there are those who are resistant to help, who cannot be helped. And there are other teachers out there. But to blanketly say that teachers' data should be put out in public, I believe is wrong, and it should not happen in a way that in any way identifies teachers. And that's what I have to say about that.